Hey there, BookTube, it's Bobi, aka Paginator, and I'm here today with the mid-year book freakout tag. I should have posted this at the beginning of July, but that's okay. We're a tiny bit late. I'm filming this on the 7th of July, but it won't go up probably till like next week sometime. Anyway, if you're not familiar with this tag, it is one where we kind of talk about the reading so far in the year and what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year. There are 13 questions, and I'll be going through my answers for each of these. I will put the questions in the space below as well if you want to do this tag or if you just want to follow along, whatever. Question number 1. What is the best book you've read so far in 2021? I've read over 100 books so far this year, and I had such a hard time deciding that I decided to allow myself two, one YA and one middle grade. First, we'll start with the YA. This is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. It is a Native American own voices, like super intense kind of mystery involving a girl who is not technically registered in her tribe. Her name is Donna Fontaine. And because she's not like officially on paper part of the tribe, she's felt a little bit outcast. She really wants to go away to college, but she has a family tragedy and she puts her future on hold to look after her mother. There is a new recruit on her brother's hockey team. Jamie is his name, and he's pretty good looking. And the two of them start to work together to investigate some drug trafficking things that are going on the res. And it's hard to give more without like spoiling some things that happen. I do talk about this more in my wrap up for, I believe it was April or May. Anyway, this was really a phenomenally well-written book. There are some, like I said, mystery elements because they're trying to track down who's involved in this drug ring, but also there's a lot of cultural elements because she is Native American. She's trying to be part of the tribe even though she's not officially on paper, and there's a lot of things that I learned about tribal culture with the Ojibwe people, and so it was just really, really beautifully written and very well done. Not to mention, really pretty cover. My middle grade for this question is Amari and the Night Brothers. This is the UK cover. My American cover is in my classroom. I don't know why I needed 2 copies of this, but I did because this has a beautiful cover and it has like silvery sprayed edges, and yeah. But this is about Amari who, his brother goes missing, and while looking around, snooping around in his room, like sisters ever do that, right? She finds or hears a ticking sound, and this leads to discovering a particular bag and taking her into this whole new world of magic and discovering powers she didn't know she had. And I remember when I first read this, I thought, this is going to be the next big thing. This is it. It's so good. It's my absolute favorite middle grade book that I've read probably at least the last 2 years, if not longer. It's so beautifully written, and there's plot twists that I did not see coming in any way, shape, or form. Like, it'll blow your mind. So highly, highly recommend this one. I know I didn't do a good job of explaining the plot, but it's all over BookTube. You've probably heard about it before. Just go read it if you haven't. Question 2, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2021? And that has to be Darius the Great Deserves Better. I read this in the month of June, and it was phenomenal. In the first book, we meet Darius, who is Iranian American. He's a little overweight. He also struggles with depression, and he is having feelings towards another boy when he and his family go to Iran to visit his grandparents. He makes friends with a boy named Sarab and really questions his sexuality, and in the sequel we have him back in the United States still dealing with family issues as well as his mental health, and he has an internship at a tea shop which he's really excited about. So I don't know even how to explain without spoiling things for both books, but it was a phenomenal sequel. Sometimes sequels will let you down, but this one did not disappoint, and it was really wonderfully done. Question 3. What is a new release this year that you have not gotten to yet? And that one is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This is the Fairy Loot edition. Look how beautiful it is. This is based in Greek mythology. It's set in New York, so it's kind of like modern times with mythology mixed together. And there is this murderous game called the Aegon, and our main character gets wrapped up in this. Her name is Lore Perseus, and her family was brutally murdered by a rival line during this. I don't remember if it was during an Aegon or whatever, but she is going to be participating in the next Aegon, which happens every 7 years, and she finds Athena gravely wounded on her doorstep, and the adventures continue from there. I don't know much about it because, as I said, haven't read it yet. Question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? That is going to be a sequel. It is Kingdom of the Curse by Carrie Maniscalco. I'll insert a picture of the cover here for you. And it is the sequel to this book, Kingdom of the Wicked. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I have several Fairy Loot editions in this video because, 1, they're beautiful, and 2, they pick good books to talk about, or to send. But I'm not going to order the Fairy Loot edition of the second one. I want to so bad, but I'm trying to be really good with my spending right now. But when it comes out, maybe I'll be off my book buying ban and I can just get a regular edition of it or check it out through the library or something. But in this series, we follow some pretty evil forces. Amelia and her twin sister Victoria in the first book have been always inseparable, but one of them meets an ugly fate. Amelia is devastated when Victoria is killed, and she makes a bargain with a prince of hell, Wrath, in order to investigate the murder, and he gets something out of it in return. And I don't want to go too deeply into the plot, but it's very dark, very full of fantasy and magic, and like bit of romance as well, and just I'm excited for the sequel. Alright, number 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment? And for me, that has got to be The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix. I thought it was going to be 5-star, and it came out being more like 2. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like it. It was about booksellers and like magical things and like some kind of like magical underground and policing it and all this stuff, plus it's set in London. I was like, this is going to be my jam, and I just didn't love it. If you love this book, I'm glad you do. I just don't happen to love it myself. Number 6, what is your biggest surprise? And that has got to be Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I've been really reluctant to get on the Brandon Sanderson like adult fantasy train. My cousin Dylan has been pestering me for a while to read these books, and I finally picked up the first one, and I just loved it. It has elemental magic, but in like a different way. Like he uses metals, like actual elements, not air, fire, water, you know, like actual elements. Like some people are able to wield iron magic, or, you know, different metals and different things like that. It's really fantastic. The world building is phenomenal. I haven't gotten to the second and third books in the trilogy yet, but I am excited to get to them at some point in the future, hopefully in 2021. Otherwise, my cousin's gonna kill me. Number 7 is, what is your favorite new author? This could be a debut or a new to you, and it's got to be Farida, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say your last name, Abike. This book, Ace of Spades, was phenomenal. 5-star read. It was a mystery thriller set in a private school where students are being unfairly targeted, outed, bullied, all kinds of things. And the two of them, Chiamaka and Devon, is it Devon? I never know. Anyway, they have to figure out what's going on, why they're being targeted, and can they take down the person or persons responsible and stop the bullying and hate. It is phenomenal, amazing. Go read it right now. Number 8 is, what is your newest fictional crush? I had a hard time with this question because I'm like, I don't know. A lot of times I feel weird crushing on book characters because I'm a lot older than characters in YA books and stuff, which is mostly what I read. But I have to say, reading Shadows Between Us, I was crushing on the character there. I mean, this is a Slytherin romance, hate to love. I mean, It's pretty much all you need to know about it. But in this book, we have Alessandra, who has been sent to woo the Shadow King, who is very dark and broody, like, ha ha ha. And she wants to woo, marry, and kill him because she is out for blood. And the sparks that fly between these two are awesome, which I think helped with the crushing aspect of this book. Number 9, what is your newest fictional character? This is another one that I struggled with a little bit because I'm like, okay, I really, really like these characters. I don't know if at their favorite, like, I struggled. But what I ended up picking is Ari from My Contrary Mary. Ari is short for Aristotle. She is the daughter of Nostradamus, the famous predictor of things. And Ari has visions, but her visions are of, like, movies that occur in our time, which is super fantastic. Like, she has one about Frozen, and, like, there's a bunch of different ones. But she also is genuinely, like, trying to do what's best for who she thinks are the people she can trust and the person that she loves. And when she realizes her mistake, she owns up to it and tries to do better, which I think is phenomenal. And I just really loved her. I loved all the characters in this book, but Ari, I think, was my favorite, so I'm going to go with that one. Number 10, what book made you cry? And that has to be Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. Because this is the 4th book in a series and you might not be too familiar, I'm just going to give you a couple of details about the series in general. It follows Nick and Charlie, who are teammates, and they fall for each other. In Volume 4, one of the characters is struggling with mental health issues, and the other is trying to support them through that. And it made me cry because it's so close to my own journey with mental health, and the relationship between these two is just beautiful. So that's all I'm going to say so I don't accidentally spoil anything. Number 11, what book made you happy? Well, this is another hard one because so many books make me happy for so many different reasons. But looking at my most recent reads, I recently just finished re-listening to Harry Potter number 5, The Order of the Phoenix. And a lot of sad things happen in this book, but I'll tell you a couple of things that make me happy. One is Luna. Like, Miss Luna is heavily featured in this book, and she's such a delightful character. She's just happy to be who she is. And even though she actually gets bullied and mistreated a lot, she's like, I'm Luna, I'm good. I'm weird, I know it. Another thing that made me really happy was toward the end, and this won't really spoil anything as far as, like, major plot points or anything, but towards the end, when they have come back to King's Cross Station and Harry has to face another summer with the Dursleys, some of the men, like Mad-Eye and Arthur Weasley and some of these other guys, they go up and talk to the Dursleys and kind of lay down the law. They kind of, like, let the Dursleys have it, and they're like, okay, if we hear anything about him being treated unfairly or unwell, or if we don't hear from him for a certain amount of time, we're coming for him, and you're not going to like it. And I loved it because Harry has, long time ago lost his parents, and in this book he also loses someone who is a parental figure, and here all these men are showing up and saying, you know what, he's our Harry, we're going to look after him, you're going to treat him correctly or there will be consequences. I just loved that moment so much. And the veil, like, in the ministry, okay, I can't keep talking about this because I'm going to spoil some things for some people I know. Oh, stop. All right. Question 12, what is the most beautiful book you have purchased or received this year? I don't receive books. I'm not one of those big channels where people send me presents and things. I think that would literally blow my mind if anyone did, but I'm not expecting that at all. I guess you could say received counts if it comes in a subscription box, but I pay for those, so I bought those anyway. But nevertheless, the most beautiful book I have bought this year has got to be Witch is Steeped in Gold, the Fairy Loot edition. This is absolutely stunning. Let's just take a look. We've got foiling on the exclusive dust jacket. We've got sprayed edges in a pattern here. We have foiling on the cover. We have art inside the dust jacket. So I honestly think this book could not be more beautiful. I I'm blown away by the job that Fairy Loot did in making this so special. I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I mean, it's just the problem of having an ever-growing TBR. You guys know how that is, right? Yeah, but it's gorgeous, and if nothing else, it's going to make a really beautiful addition to my shelf. Question 13 in this tag is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year or through the rest of this year? The answer is so many. I can't even begin to tell you like how many books are on my TBR. It is ridiculous. Yikes. There's so many. I kind of just turned around and looked at my shelf over here and grabbed a book to show you, and this is going to be representative of the tons of books that I still want to read, but this is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I absolutely loved her book Spinning Silver. This is lesson 1 of the Scholomance, so it's going to be a series. It is Dark Academia, and I don't know much else about it, to be honest, but I'm really, really intrigued by it, really want to read it. It's little, and it's floppy, and like, how much fun will this be to read? There's so many. I have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have Concrete Rose that I still haven't read. What the heck am I doing? Sweet and Bitter Magic. Everything That Burns. The Pages and Co. series by Anna James. Ghostwood Song. This Golden Flame. The Camelot Betrayal. Namesake. So many. For now, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys are having a great reading year. Comment in the space below how you're doing. Like, if your goal is to read 2 books and you've read 1 so far, great. If your goal is to read 50 and you've read 30, like, whatever it is that you've done, that's awesome because you're reading. Like, but let me know how you're doing, what your favorite book of the year has been. If you've read any of the books that I talked about, just hit me up because I love to read your comments. And for now, that's going to be all. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.